Hello, everybody, and we're live. And we think we're truly live now because we gave some time in the beginning.
yeah, yeah. Welcome to today's really special episode of K6 Office Hours. As usual, my name is Marie. I'm one of your dev roles here at K6, and with me,
I am Leandro Melendez, also known as Señor Performo, one of the devils here at K6. And we have two special guests today, lots of news, lots of fun, and a very entertaining K6 office hours.
right. So before we just quickly introduce our two special guests, Yusuf and Enes, we do have a few announcements from our side. So we are hiring. So we actually have three different vacancies from our side. So if you know anyone who are looking for a change, or if they just want to join the K6 team, then yeah, let us know because we are expanding our team. We also have released our latest product update newsletter. So many of you know already, but we've actually just released K6 version 0.43. And this comes with a lot of exciting stuff, such as the native support for async and await, XK6 browser now being an experimental module, introducing a new experimental module in the form of the tracing module, and there's just so much stuff. So if you want to have a read, it's now posted as our latest blog post, and it also contains other important stuff such as what the community has been doing. Speaking of community and more news, I think Leandro, you have some announcement from your side.
Yeah, actually, stay tuned because the news are brewing. We're going to be doing, if you're familiar with KSIX News, the segment of announcements and all the new stuff that we have at K6, where, as usual, making it fun, making it appealable, we will be publishing very similar follow up to what we have in the product updates. And one of the big elements that I'm going to show you in a moment is that we have two new segments on the news show. One is the worldwide browser news, where our amiga Marie is going to be hosting and bringing us all the newest browser-related trends with K6 from all over the world, wide browsers. And second, and very relevant to today's office hours, we are having a new segment. So get ready to get into it because you are about to be blasted by it. Roll it up. Yeah, we will have a new segment where we will be promoting, giving a space to our champions, giving you the news, the latest updates on what they are up to, what could you do to become a champion, the benefits, talk a little bit about it, and bring you what is the latest. So stay tuned, stay ready. And speaking of champions,
Yeah. So, as Leandro was saying, we're also dedicating a segment, whether it's with the office hours or with the KSIX news, some, time to promote what our different champions have been doing. So, if you're not busy next Monday, and if you want to know more how you can build a test framework with K6 and TypeScript, our K6 champion Yanis, who's also here, because so he's like tuning in and watching the live stream. He's going to have a workshop. So this is an online workshop where he will show you how to integrate K6 and TypeScript. So if you want to know more about it, then this is an excellent workshop, and it's free. We also have two really great articles. So I know one of the questions that we get from our Slack community forum is, how do you integrate metrics, like K6 different metrics, and like the Slack integration. So our K6 champion, Yusuf, who's also here with us, really wrote an excellent article. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. on how to do just that. So if you want to, game up your metrics report and you want to have some notifications as part of your test and get that reported, to Slack, then he's really written an excellent blog post about it. And finally, so our K6 champion Enes also recently wrote a blog post on how you can make load testing simpler using the resource object model. So if you're familiar with design patterns such as page object model, then have a look at this great article because yeah, it's really a really great article. It shows how you can make your test script simpler, especially if you have a lot of like repetitions and you just want to have a maintainable load testing framework. So I think, yeah, that's all the news from my side.
Yeah. And speaking of following up with our champions, I think it's moment to start introducing our special guests for the day.
Yeah.
Bring it on, Marie.
Yeah, so I guess let's go alphabetical order. So Enes, why don't you, yeah, quickly introduce yourself and tell us what you do, and yeah, just any interesting stuff that you want to share as well.
Yeah, hey everyone. So my name is Enes Kühn, and I'm working as a QA solution architect in a company Mistral in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina. So in regards to what drives me the most in regards to testing, so I really like performance testing and all other aspects of non-functional testing. So and why is that? Because I like to break things. So, and with load testing, it's easier to break things. So that's kind of how I came across K6, but more to come on that. And besides my professional career, I'm a father of two sons and also married. So that's it from my end so far.
Nice. Over to you, Yusuf. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, this is Yusuf, and I'm working as a senior QA engineer at OpenPaid, and I've been working in here 2.5 years, and I love observability things, and yeah, that's pretty
Nice.
much yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's really great to have you both. Like this is the first time that we're doing like an AMA's, type of episode, especially with, two amazing champions. But before we, start with some questions, so just a reminder to anyone, who's like tuning in live, if you have some specific questions around performance testing, not just about K6, but if you have questions as well about K6, then utilize the chat, use this time to really ask those important questions, because yeah, I think this is going to be like a really interesting episode where the both of you and hopefully like our audience can also gain a lot of insights and knowledge. So yeah, send those questions via the chat. So whether you're using our YouTube channel, whether you're viewing it from Twitch or from LinkedIn, just send it via the chat. Before we start with the AMA, like I guess my first question is like, what made you to decide to become a K6 champion?
That's for me, right?
Yeah, let's start with you, Enes.
Okay, so well, the entire story is quite simple. So maybe 2 years ago, I came across. I was engaged to one really challenging project, and everything was happening so fast. And all of a sudden, my QA manager came and said like, we need to test this endpoint and to hit it with 20K users, so 20,000 users. So I was kind of shocked. I had like 5 days to accomplish that. Everybody was working from home. That was a COVID period, so it's kind of difficult to set up everything, to set up environment, and to perform that kind of load testing. So I was kind of in a phase. What can I do? What can I do? How can I achieve that? This, And I started Googling and I tried all different competitor tools, failed once, failed twice, failed for third time. So I was kind of stuck. And all of a sudden, I came across K6. I was kind of, let me give it a try. So K6 by then was in a version of point two or something. And when you see something that is in point two and you need to achieve something really big, you are kind of skeptic.
Yeah.
And I give it a try. First thing that I tried, the feature where we can transfer scripts from Postman and to try it out in a K6. And it didn't work well. So I was kind of again in between. But at the end, I went through all your awesome documentation and managed to achieve impossible within a day. So within a day, I managed to hit that endpoint. I had several ups and downs. Like my home router broke; it stopped working since I was generating too much load. So and then I had to come to the office to try it out again, which is kind of challenging. But long story short, I completed by Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. So I got 2 days just to play with reports. So
Mhm.
it, and I completed the testing, and the client was super happy. And then we scaled it up. We reached another threshold few months after that, and that was kind of the beginning of the story. So K6 helped me a lot during challenging times. And few months back, I was on LinkedIn just scrolling around, watching posts and funny materials, and I came across your post where there is a call for a champion. And I said, now it's time for me to bring back something to give something back to K6, to promote that tool, to help others, to advocate, to tell everybody out there that we do have such a great tool that can cure our headache and help us achieve almost impossible from a single machine. So from a single machine, and yeah, you need to have a nice router, not just those default ones, since it just stopped working, and you need to reset it and play it all around. So basically, that's my story. That's why I apply to become a K6 champion, and I'm really happy that I'm part of this awesome crew. And later, I noticed that there are a lot of benefits when you are K6 champion, such as you have access to the K6 community, you can collaborate, share your ideas, help others, support the team, and you will get support from the team as well. So that's why I applied, and no, that's something that you get like an extra. Also, there is access to K6 Cloud. I always wanted to try it out, and still I want to try it. I didn't manage to grab some time and to try it out, but the benefits are there. So, but my true story is that I want to help you guys the same way you helped me to achieve almost impossible. So,
That
thank you.
that's an awesome thing. Two things that caught my attention right away. You had to go into the office on COVID days.
Yes,
Wow. Yeah,
yes,
that's brave. That's and second, like you found the bottleneck at your place, a router, and you totally
yep.
brought it down with all the power that K6 can generate. That's also wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
you
impressive.
know, I was kind of surprised. You basically, I didn't believe that I'm generating that amount of load. You have the scripts running, but you are not 100% sure. So then I asked my DevOps engineer, can you please pull out? Can you give me credentials, access to AWS CloudWatch? I want to see if I'm generating that amount of load. And when you see that load, so it's kind of amazing. And then I started to pump it up, and then all the sudden my router, basically I was without internet, so it just like died.
I don't know if that may have been your ISP, but it's funny that it's almost too good to be true that you can generate that much amount of load, right? It's
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of the
definitely. And then when you present it to the client that you can achieve that thing,
Mm.
right? And then just you open their eyes. They started imagining new scenarios. Like let's give it a try. If we will get let's test a cloud watch alarms. So if my CPU reaches 80%, that I will receive an email. And I was, oh, no problem. Just create a new scenario, pop, and you got an email.
That's
So
that's
it kind of it opens your view, and you can even more test it and easily break things.
I think from what you said as well, like my takeaway from it is it's making performance testing accessible, to a lot of people because, like back at the old days, like there's this misconception that it's just done by, a specific team, like, oh, we can't do performance testing, like they have to do it. And I think nowadays, and it's great because we now have a lot of, modern like testing tools, and if it's like especially as well if your team is using JavaScript, like there's that great buy-in. But I'm curious to know, like, from your side, Yusuf. So, what made you decide? Because I know I recognize you because, like, so this is like something that we have internally. So, like, before we create the template for our K6, like office hours, like there's actually a template there to say, oh, this should be the title, and then I saw your name there, like as an example, because I think you were supposed to do a K6 office hours episode before, so like you've already been doing some sort of like advocacy before, but yeah, like what made you decide to become a K6 champion?
Uh, Actually, the answer is simple. I think the same as like NS. When I first came across K6, and I had just changed company, and I was looking some load testing tools, which is new, and I was comparing tools, Gmeteor, K6, and the others, Gatling, etc. And I'm trying to answer the question: which tool should we use? Which tool should we choose? And then I realized the power of K6. It actually has something that other tools don't have. For example, thresholds, executors, scenarios, stages, etc. Many of them. Then I integrated it. It's very, very easy to use. Integrate to CI/CD pipeline and integrate to monitoring, and it has a wide range of extensions in here, and you can do anything you want, as Enes said. And after the freedom that K6 added to us, I started to share it with the people. And I'm already trying to introduce K6 to people, and I'm blogging about how they should use it in their professional life and how they improve their performance load testing structure. And yeah, after all this, when I saw the K6 Champions program, I said, why not do it with the power of the community? I wanted to feel community behind me. Yeah.
Awesome. Before we start, more about like, because I do have like a few questions around the Champions program. I figured we could answer, one question that we have from the Slack. So Alien FPD, and I know like from like our previous episodes, like every time we talked about the K6 browser, like we do get a lot of questions. And there's this question where he said, should we use sleep in browser level tests or avoid at any point? And if yes, how then to avoid longer test execution? How to avoid using sleep? Um,
oh,
I have my
that's
own like answer to that, but I'm curious to know from your side, Enes or Yusuf, like what would be your approach? Like, would you use sleep in browser level tests, or how would you make sure that you're not gonna have a longer test execution?
Well, it's a good question. However, I hate to use sleeps. So whenever I see sleep, I know that something is not well, or something I did not plan well. So the basically, if we need to use sleeps, we should kind of try to avoid that, or maybe to the best option is to wait for certain element, to wait something to disappear, uh to wait for some spinner to disappear, for something to happen, so something that is not time framed, something that is has doesn't have that strict wait. So
Mhm.
use whatever. If there is a button, wait for the button to get enabled. Wait for new page to get displayed. For anything, just don't do sleeps. But as a matter of fact, I'm also using sleeps. Why? Because I'm lazy sometimes. Sometimes it's easier to put sleep. So that's my answer. Don't use it. Don't be like Enes.
No, I feel like that should be like a meme. Don't be like, don't use
Yeah,
labels.
definitely. Why not?
Yeah. How about from your side, Yusuf? Do you have anything to add?
No, I think Enes said all of things because yeah, we need to the other things we need to wait elements. We need to avoid the sleeps. Yeah.
I think as well, because like when we talk about browser level test, it's really different from the protocol level, right? So when we talk about like browser level, so like adding an explicit, amount of time, it might, be easier. It might work like the first few runs, but what if something unexpectedly happens and you would want your test to fail because there is an actual error, not because of like certain like conditions like affecting the actual execution of your test. But um when we want to run some protocol level tests, some load tests, then it makes sense to put some sleep from that perspective, because we don't just want to you know like
Saturate.
yeah, like hammer the different like API endpoints, because that's not like realistic. So we need to have that think time in between. But I totally agree when it comes to browser level tests, let's try to avoid using sleep as much as possible. And the great thing with the K6 browser module now is, we do have APIs to support, like waiting for a specific element, like waiting for a specific condition to happen, rather than you're being tied in to, adding sleep for whatever, like millisecond. Would you
I
agree?
was
Like,
I
Leandro, yeah.
I was gonna add that that new functionality that we have in this new release solves many of these two problems. I mean, sleep
Mm,
is needed at times, as you say in protocol. Absolutely, there are sometimes when you want this test that blast the system, and that's your purpose. No sleep. Let's slam it. Okay, but most of the time you need it on protocol level. On browser, as you said, something is spinning, waiting for it. You never know how long it truly is going to take, because if the system is loaded, even your own browser may take longer. What to do, and often you have to sleep more than you should. It's needed in browser level, but with the new async and await functionalities that we have, I think that the community will have a blast trying them out and removing all your sleeps and replacing it with await commands. I'm very curious to see what is going to come up from those
yeah.
exercises and the community trying them.
Yeah. So just to add to that, so we do have a few APIs already that use this async and await. The overall goal is for like most, or if like all of them, to also support that syntax, just to be better when it comes to waiting for any like asynchronous operations to happen. But yeah, like now that we have native support, it would just really make like upcoming like releases much more better. Cool. There is a follow-up question as well from Alien FPB. So this is also related when it comes to browser level. So what are the most important measurements for K6 performance testing for browser level testing? And do you know any custom ones that are included already in the docs?
And be prepared, because I'm going to extend that question after you answer. Who wants to
So
go first?
who wants, yeah, any takers?
Don't be afraid.
Uh, I think the most important measurements it's core vitals. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Yeah, core vitals.
I would say so as well. Yeah. We actually have an open issue, and one of our engineers have already made a POC because we understand that the core web vitals is the like standard, it's like the de facto way of helping you measure the like the performance of your web applications. So like they they have changed like over the years. So currently we have like the three core web vitals, and we also have like the other vitals. But if I'm not mistaken, like those three core web vitals are largest contentful paint, first input delay, as well as cumulative layout shift. So we haven't like fully supported all those like web vitals directly within the K6 browser module, but that is part of our roadmap, especially like the largest contentful paint, and like any like input delay, like all those things. In terms of like any custom ones that are included already in the docs, I can maybe just point. So we do have a documentation around like the metrics that K6 browser support. So let me just get that up.
While you're bringing that up, I'm gonna add a little bit, because these questions like what is the most important, or what should you focus as step number one. This is very context related, because depending on the application and what it is doing, even just focusing on the web vitals, a few ones,
Yeah.
at sometimes you may care a lot for one and not at all for the others. We may be mentioning a few, and then on other tests you are like, there are not even text inputs. I don't care about that one. I'm not even paying attention. Or maybe what you're testing is a web form. Of course, the web input is the most important thing. So there are some dangers in trying to kind of narrow it and most important. But definitely there are the most common ones that we can pay attention to.
Yeah, so I've got the documentation here. So currently these are,
Marie, may you want to zoom a little bit that, because
yes. Is that better?
way better.
Oh my gosh, what did I do?
Scroll down.
There you go. So currently these are the default metrics that comes with K6 browser. I do know that, so say for example you want to add like custom metrics, like for example you want to measure like the time difference between launching a page and then you click a button. So in K6 we have an option to support like custom metrics where you can create your own trend, and then you can just use a simple like date that time and then subtract that from like when the actual page has launched, and that will then result into a measurement as to how long it took between the page loading and then like for a specific action to happen, and then you can add that as part of your custom metric. So the great thing is, because K6 browser is now bundled in as part of like K6 core, you can leverage like all the existing features of K6, and the trend metric is one of them. Let me see if I can search for it. Yeah, so it should be this one. So we do have, I'm always doing that. Ah. So we do have examples here on how you can create a custom metric, and you can just add it like directly within your K6 browser script.
Another detail that I already warned our champions that I was going to extend. We're talking here about browser metrics, protocol metrics. Which ones are your favorites, or that you pay the most attention to? Let's say, Yusuf, let's start with you now.
Okay. For me, for our application in our company, we are checking firstly DOM content loading, and it's a because the DOM content loading brings us to a lot of important informations, and we can provide to front end developers, and they are improve their site as well. Yeah, we can say the DOM content loading.
Say check that I said your favorite, because not there's no most important, there's not the best, there's blah.
Yes,
Your
yes,
most useful, the one that you go to most
yes.
often, right? How about you, Enes?
Average response time.
I'm so
Average,
surprised.
yep. One and only average response time. So when the client asks, he will always say like, what's the largest response time and what's the average response time? And usually prior to load test, we set our thresholds to those two like metrics, and we are tracking them down. Since if it's I'm mostly working with a mobile application, so that's why I'm putting endpoints to test. So not really but I'm not really part of browser, K6 browser. I'm mostly testing endpoints directly. And usually, since those are mobile apps, everything needs to run smoothly. Otherwise, everybody will say this app is rubbish and I don't want to use it. It is too slow. So that's why we put our thresholds prior to even testing, and then seeing if we are achieving or like jumping over those thresholds. So those are the two main ones.
Yeah,
And
super common. Sorry, go on.
yeah, and just came up to my mind. Will we getting K6 Apium? One question for you guys. What do you think? Like browser, maybe Apium for mobile applications.
Mm.
That's
Interesting.
something to bring up with the devs, but
Product team as well, yeah.
no, not sure.
Yeah.
I won't say no, but it's always a possibility, and
Yeah.
who knows? If anyone watching wants to extend that as well, K6 extensions. That's how most of the good projects start. Don't be limited by our capacity. Go and extend whatever you want.
Yeah.
Quick comment on Ioannis was saying client's favorite metric. Sadly, that's a cringy word. Sometime, Enes, you were saying your clients usually request for average response time. At times is what they care for. There are so many others that we can care for, like Yusuf mentioned. But yeah, it's clients always have peculiar requests. But we have many more questions, right? Let's see. Uh-oh, Marie, I think we lost you, or you're muted. Okay, you're back. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we are getting a lot of questions, like browser, like, and this is why I said a while ago, every time we talk about like browser, case browser, or anything like browser module or like web performance in general, we are getting a lot of questions. But I think from Yanis, so I think we can break this down into two questions. So first one is, how can we achieve real user monitoring in terms of evaluating Google Web Vitals in real time as much as possible? Any thoughts, champions?
No, that's a tough one.
Yep.
I think
we gotta get more champion on the browser side, because
that's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like
we are also working with microservices, and I am working with not a K6 browser, with K6.
Yeah.
This question for you, Mari.
I was gonna say, because I don't want to like obviously answer like all of them, but from what Leandro said, I feel like we need a champion who's like focused as well in terms of like K6 browser, because so calling all other champions, if like we want to do a special episode just to talk about browser, then reach out to us. But I think with this, so like I said, K6 browser doesn't fully support Google Web Vitals yet. But if you want to achieve like real user monitoring, so you want to see how your browser is performing from a real like user data, so there are other tools available out there. The one that really comes to my mind is web page tests. So they use data coming in from lab data as well as like real data. So you can then select which specific browser you want to run your performance test, like what specific condition. So it's basically like checking like the different like conditions. I think Google Lighthouse, it's mostly like collecting data from like a really controlled like lab data. So it's not necessarily the same data as your users are using, but at least it can give you that indication. But yeah, if you haven't tried web page tests, that is one tool that comes to mind. And really, hopefully, like once K6 browser implements the web vital metrics, as well. Like I said, it might not give you the real accuracy of what your real users are using, because Google Lighthouse uses lab data, but that should still help. The other question is about, is it valid to do cross-browser testing for our K6 browser tests? So currently, K6 browser only utilizes Chromium. The goal is to make it as stable as possible, because we still have a lot of other features that we want to implement. But I think it's really important as well that we support other browsers, because different browsers, they have different um, like ways, or not ways, but they have different responses, like when it comes to like rendering your web page. So just because it's like super fast when you view something on Chrome, like you can't assume that that's also the same like response like if you view it on like Safari, or Firefox, or rest in peace Microsoft IE. But yeah, like cross browser testing, that's something that's part of our roadmap. So I would say that it's a very valid scenario, even if you're not using K6 browser and you're just like testing it by launching the page by yourself. I would consider cross browser testing when it comes to web performance a really important one, because even if you're using different dimensions, different devices, that also has an impact to your web performance. Oh, but yeah, I feel like we need a K6 champion as well for this browser.
Or champions start playing with the browser side as well.
Yeah, a challenge for this year.
Accepted the challenge.
Nice. There is this question from Burke. So, will the K6 event be organized face to face? I'm not sure which K6 event, Burke, but maybe you can mention to the chat. But if that was the workshop from Yanis, when he's gonna do this K6 and TypeScript, then that is online. But if that's not the K6 event that you are asking, then just please clarify it on the chat.
Just a small spoiler, we are thinking of trying to do in-person things for communities. Let's see, little by little. But if you're thinking of a particular event, please let us know here in the chat. We're very excited to be face-to-face with people. That's awesome.
Yeah. Question from Gabrielle. Oh, this is a different, so at least it's not browser related now. How can we add data points or manage that on low load in some cases?
Anyone?
Not sure about this one. What is meant by data points? Exactly.
Maybe Gabrielle, if you're still like on the chat, you can expand the question a bit.
Yeah.
Also, he did post something as well. So how can we manage or add data points on the test? Because sometimes we can see really the percentiles changing.
I think he may be talking about some particular data types or adding difference than the percentiles. Have you, Yusuf or Enes, had experience like creating other data points?
Didn't track that one, to be honest with you.
Yes, I also tried.
I think if I sense Gabriel's question, it's related a little bit to the percentiles when we are trying to look at the data points when we are seeing the response times or often we get averages. He may be searching for like granularity. Um,
Yeah, spikes in that term, maybe.
mhm. Have any of you created custom measurements?
I did something related to amount of data being returned from a specific endpoint, if I'm not mistaken. What's the largest amount of data that we are getting from specific endpoint? So that I needed to that in order to track why some parts of the application are slower than others. So more affected by the load. So then I need to monitor how many megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes, whatever bytes are being returned to the script by that endpoint. So I created that one and track that one. Well, it's super simple to create your own metric. So and also there are error rates checks and stuff. So everything, whatever we are putting there. So whatever you need, you can create it. So you just need to have data and you will monitor it.
There's another cool way with custom measurements that for Gabriel's situation, once I needed like data points, punctual, granular, one at a time, and you create your measurement, and then you can pretty much post it to another, send it to Prometheus, send it to Influx, have it elsewhere, and then you will have point by point every time that you're recording or receiving a measurement. Let's say again a response time, download time from your um, API request or whatever you are trying to test, send it to your database. Just a word of advice, be careful, because if you are pushing it too hard on some of these things, you may turn your test into a load test for that data repository. So that's why as well at times we have these percentiles that you're mentioning, uh, and you don't know exactly why it changed. Is it suddenly your 90 percentiles is, say, let's give a bad example, 2 seconds, 2 seconds, suddenly goes to 3, but the real data point went to 5 or 10, probably. My feeling is that that's where Gabriel is kind of getting. You want to know exactly what is that data point doing. That's a trick, but again, be careful if you do some of those custom measurements or send granularity, because again, K6 is powerful. You could break your influx or your Prometheus or affect some of the volumes that you can generate.
Awesome. So I hope the different insights help you, Gabrielle. We do have another question from Burke. How can we apply to the K6 challenge
Yay!
program? So yeah, so we do have our landing page, k6.io slash champions hyphen program, and there is a application form here. So in terms of, the different benefits, like you can just access it from this landing page. The different expectations once you have been accepted to the program. One thing that I will say though, we we want like the program to be like an extension of the developer advocates here at K6, because we know that there's a lot of people out there as well who loves to share content about K6. So as part of the application form, like, don't sell yourself short. If you have articles, if you have blogs, if you have videos or any evidence of how you have advocated for K6, then add that to the application form, and we consider each application on a day-to-day basis. And the application is like open all year round. So yeah, that's all the details that I have.
What I would like to add to Berg's question, some of these requirements, uh, it's important that you have already kind of gotten into K6, that you love it and have like the passion that I would like just to hear about quickly. What things did you were already generating, Yusuf and Enes, that you can share and tell the community, hey, I did this, and that's how I showed my passion. I mean, we can already say that you were risking your life going into the office to use K6. Uh, but yeah, would you mind sharing just one or two things that you did um,
Uh,
prior to becoming champions?
Enes?
Right. So, okay. Yeah. So as I said, I like what I like in regards to that question. I like to break things. So I like to when they say like we are going into production in 2 weeks, and I say okay, let me break that up in pieces. Let me see how your endpoints are set, and then you all of a sudden within several hours you can see them screaming.
But
So
one
then,
question: were you sharing that with the community? Were you posting?
yeah,
What was
we
your?
internally in the company we have something called practice group, where we have that's something like every QA from our company is part of our practice group. So we have our channels, and then whatever whoever did something nice and super interesting and good, we are sharing that over there. In the second hand, I'm also like to write blogs. So I wrote two blogs, if I'm not mistaken, in regards to K6 already. And last but not least, it's always interesting for others to hear about non-functional testing. I mean, going to doing some sort of meetups and doing like speaks on conferences. So
Mm.
currently, I'm negotiating, and most likely at the beginning of the spring, I will be talking on two conferences almost in a row. And there, I will tell them my story, since this story is really, really interesting.
That's a great showing for passion and
Yeah.
sharing with the community about what is K6. And Yusuf, how about you? What did you bring to the table when you applied?
From my side, I attend some events such as Grafana Meetup and as a speaker, and also Ankara Testing Days, which is a local event in Turkey. And I talked about the load testing with K6, and I compared the K6 the other tools, and also like NS, I also write some articles about K6 and about the extensions and observability, and yeah, one of them related to the databases, which
Mhm.
uh, uh, K6 provide us with the extensions database testing. And yeah, that's
Lots of great contributions to the community and bringing information. And uh, if you are interested, or like Burke sounds kind of into it, so
Yeah.
uh, if you have anything like that, you have been speaking about K6, you have been promoting, presenting, learning everyone to
Yeah.
helping everyone to learn about K6,
yeah.
or uh, taking your voice out in the world, let us
Mhm.
know, because that's very good, that's valuable. Or if you haven't started, what are you waiting for? And let's
Yeah,
Yeah,
start.
I was gonna say as well. So I know, like, some people, they might not be too keen on, I guess, presenting on meetups, and the question might be, how can I actually contribute? So if you want to start, like I said, the program is open all year round. We have some other, fun projects that, we're thinking internally that we can also extend to, champions, that we can also extend to like potential, like champions as well. So it shows that you don't have to, I guess, contribute like writing blogs or, presenting on meetups. We can also work with you on like different projects. Because one of our K6 champions, so Christoph, he's like he contributes by answering questions from the community forum. So that's also a great way, to feed back to the community. There's, multiple ways. But yeah, if you have something to share and like the content is already out there, I'd say just still go for it. Write about like what you've learned, because you're still gonna help like a beginner, who hasn't used K6 for the first time. So just still, I guess, share what you've learned. So yeah. that's a good.
Any media that you like? We have also very active users in our GitHub, generating PR, sending suggestions, being active there. Again, blog posts, even like social media noise or all of these things. Um, if you like it and you have the passion, go out in the world and start generating it. Or if you're already, let us know. I mean,
Mhm.
that's super cool to have more friends, champions helping and
Yeah.
playing here with us.
Awesome. Now let's move on. We have a question from Luca. Does K6 have any plan to have something in its core other than the Kubernetes operator to handle distributed execution runs? Interesting. I feel like
Yes,
you did Paul. Or yeah, if you have insights, other yeah.
we did it in our company, and we integrated with the Kubernetes, and we are running our load test in the Kubernetes. And maybe I can write article for this because this is a too long story.
Yeah. I think though, like maybe Luca is also wondering because like with the Kubernetes operator, like, you'd have to use that, but I guess the question is if it's gonna be like natively, part of like K6 core, which I'm not sure if there's like plans for that or if it's already
I think
supported.
eventually the plan for most of the popular extensions that we have, eventually they should be getting. It's a matter of being careful because we don't want to make K6 core bulky, heavy, slow. Like it has to be the best efficient and slim experience that a lean experience that you can get. But oh, we have our amigo Paul contributing to that.
Paul saves the day. Yeah. So there actually are plans for native distributed testing with K6.
So
That's all.
just stay tuned. We will get to that eventually. But yeah, as I said, most of what we have that are extensions that are popular or very useful, uh, it's a matter of time that we manage to put it inside. Just it's a situation of balance of not bloating it too much and at the same time keeping it lean, and well, the capacity of the team. That's as well, we're working on many other surprises that uh, spoiler alert, there are coming several. So it's little by little. And well, Paul, thank you so much, Paul, for saving the day. Yes, we are planning on that.
Nice. Awesome. Well, looks like we don't have any questions at the moment. So maybe I can sidetrack this a bit. So now that you two have been, champions, for like some time, what's been your favorite, I guess, part of being a K6 champion? Because like we all have like our day-to-day jobs, like you two are busy, like being part of the program, like what's been your favorite so far? Maybe Yusuf, you could start.
Okay, the I think I have to say the most attracted to me the most are the support and collaboration opportunities by the providing the by K6. Having access to the K6 team support can, I think, incredibly valuable, especially when it comes to the resolving issues or getting feedbacks for content or events. And the team is always responsive, helpful, and yeah. And also, additionally, uh, working with the K6 team on content and advocacy activities can be a great way learn more about for me the performance world, and as well as to develop new skills and uh, connect to the professionals in the industry. And also we have a private Slack channel for networking opportunities, and collaboration is also great benefit, as I said, that yeah, that's support and collaboration most favorites one, the being K6 champion.
The same answer. So being the part of Slack channel is a huge plus.
Yeah.
So the good things you see as something that is in a draft stage. You are sharing your latest news with us, and then we can collaborate. Then we can see that problems that we are facing, everybody others are facing. So it's a good thing to see that you are not alone, that you have somebody to help you out. You can discuss it. Discuss. Most likely within the next few months, we will discussing. I have some things in my head that I would like to share with you guys. So it's much easier to share it uh, via Slack channel, and also for us to be being promoted the same way we are promoting you guys. So whenever there is an event, we can collaborate to make it better event, to have more visibility and stuff like that. So that's how I see it. And also the plus to have access to K6 Cloud to and other stuff. Even though I haven't tried yet, but I will find
Not yet.
some time to try it out. But the
Yeah.
Slack channel is a huge plus.
Yeah.
The another most part of these K6 champions is the opportunity to connect with the K6 team directly, like
Mm,
this, like office hours. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a great one.
We're helping you as well. Like, I think in a way this is a two-way,
Yeah,
partnership. So if we have, some like projects or ideas, like I said, we're treating this as an extension of the developer advocates, because we're not like there's only like a few of us. So having access to, hey, 10 champions, we're like, yes, this is awesome. And at the same time, like being a champion, um, it's really helping your personal brand as well. Like Enes said, that we're promoting your stuff, we're connecting you with the community much better, and in the long run, like it's just this two-way partnership. That's really awesome. And I think, yeah, like other companies, they're also starting to do champions program, more like ambassador program, so everyone is seeing the benefit of this, which, yeah, I think it's just really awesome.
yeah.
I think that's it in terms of questions. That's I really enjoyed this AMA. Like, this is the first time I've done it, and yeah, I feel like we need to do more AMA style of K6 office hours.
And you know what I was thinking as well? Vice versa. Let the champions ask questions. Let the champions bring things to the table. Maybe we can answer them,
Mhm.
discuss them, and see what is the situation. Because my experience today has been that you guys, Yusuf and Enes, bring so much from what you are experiencing, seeing, and those situations where many in our community may be having to go to the office, dealing with some of these situations. Yusuf, the Kubernetes things that you're working on.
Yeah,
Please, 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 if you want to write about that, yes, absolutely.
of course. I will.
But that year in the field, like you are having the experiences. That's awesome to share with the people.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for this opportunity as well. Yeah.
Well, before we close off, do we have any, like, I don't know, closing announcements? Anything from you, Leandro, for next week?
So again, stay tuned. We KSIX News will be coming with some updates and some more fun. I'm preparing something silly, and I hope that you will have a lot of fun. Marie will be
It's my
also.
first time. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yusuf and Enes, stay tuned, because it's very probable that you will be invited to talk in the news show and bring your experiences there. There are some other big announcements that will come soon from K6 and Grafana. So everyone stay tuned, because it's big announcement.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the KSIX news. Yeah, so that was my first time, and I had fun. It's I have so much respect now for people who actually create videos. Like Leandro, he's just like really awesome when it comes to video creation. So I really hope that everyone from the community enjoys the KSIX news special episode for next week.
And with that, I think we should say goodbye. And how about we close with that champions section video?
Oh, that was
I was about to ask you that. Play us again.
Ready. Okay, Yusuf, Enes, thank you so much for coming. Take care, everyone. We're about to call it a day. Take
Bye-bye.
care and say goodbye to the champions with the champions video. Adios.
Bye bye.
Bye.